Okay guys, time for dinner. Wow, wonderful. Anyways, okay guys, it's been a minute, but as you can see, back in the OG setup, which also means back with the educational MS Paint videos. Now I did ask what you guys wanted to see. A lot of people wanted me to talk about this, but I think there's a better time for that. Another thing people wanted me to talk about was going to be my splits and just training. And I feel like the last time I made an actual training video, a split video, was quite a while ago. Quite popular videos on my upper, lower, and full body every other day training splits, and explaining that, going over that. And after I've continued running a upper lower variation for quite some time now, adjusting it and altering it based on what I feel is works for me. So I just want to go over to show I've been maximizing my gains, because I've really just been exploding, as you guys may know. But first, I thought it'd be nice just to rank the best splits, because honestly, with splits, it's going to be a changing process. You're not going to stick to one split your whole life, and depending on how far you are into the gym, pretty much that's it, and just how advanced of a lifter you are, you're going to need to have a certain split. Starting off, this is my first split, was the PPL split, and it's a good split. However, let's look at what things that matter in a split: frequency and then optimal rest. Okay, let's look at the PPL split. It's going to be PPL rest, PPL repeat. So in a week, this will be what? This is usually a 6-day a week. So the amount of frequency that you hit the muscles is going to be every muscle group twice a week, okay? But you're only going to have around 1 to 1.5 rest days, depending on how you're running it. If you're doing PPL rest or PPL rest, which isn't very great for recovery. Having one rest day isn't the best for your CNS to recover. Gonna hinder your volume. However, I will say the one caveat with PPL, where I think it could be a really good split, actually the best split to run, is if you're some big ass massive dude. You gym pin everything, and you've pretty much on gear, honestly. The only people who will maximize gains from this is the people who have to do a lot of warm-up sets to work up to their heavy sets. Jordan Peters, the person who did popularize full body and upper lower splits, that kind of started the science-based lifting shit, he says you should switch to switch up your splits, and PPL is what he runs. But it makes sense because he does probably 2 to 3 times the weight on every machine than I do. So it's going to take a lot more effort and intensity, where you're going to need to have days where you're only hitting a couple muscle groups, not an entire upper day, because an entire upper day for them would be fucking hell. But for a more intermediate lifter, you could do something like upper lower, but we'll get into that later. So let me rate this. We'll give it it's an S if you're advanced, but for other people it's kind of B tier. Anyways, next, go to the bro split. There's a 1x frequency and you rest. I mean, true bro split is 7 days a week, I think, so you get little rest. So honestly, yeah, I mean, this is just what people run for fun. I mean, the people who do run this are usually fucking chill ass people who aren't insufferable, pretty much 90% of the science-based lifting community. If you run this, you're an S tier, but the split itself is garbage, not optimal. All my friends from Arizona, Hunter, Varus, they were running a similar bro split. Just they were working out twice a day. Okay, when I first met them, they were not tapped into the science-based lifting whatsoever. But ever since even they've said after watching my videos and putting them onto upper lower and focusing on the progression and not pump training and training twice a day, obviously they saw hella progress. So yeah, F tier. Arnold split, honestly, it's kind of just the same as PPL. I don't even know what the Arnold split is, but we're gonna give it a J tier, because the only people who run this are fans of Arnold, and Arnold was bought out by the people who celebrate Hanukkah. I don't want to get demonetized. I won't go further into detail. So yeah, if you're following this split, you're pretty much following J propaganda. So you're going to J tier, buddy. Enough said. Now upper lower. This is really good for beginners, extremely good for intermediates. You get it's gonna be an upper, lower, rest, repeat. So if you do it like this, you should be hitting your entire body and muscle group. I think it's like 2.25 times, or maybe like 2.5. I don't feel like doing math right now. You just gotta trust me, bro. I'm the king of upper lower. Okay, it's slightly better than PPL. That's important to note. And you get 2 to 3 rest days a week, you know, depending on the cycle of your upper lower. So yeah, you get more rest, you can train harder, you can train slightly more frequently. It's gonna be S tier pretty much for everyone. However, if you are a beginner, this is where we go to full body every other day. If you watch my video, if you're tapped into science-based lifting, you would know this is the most optimal split, you know, in theory, and because of like you can hit a muscle, you hit every single muscle every 48 hours, which is the most optimal for muscle hypertrophy and getting that stimulus. And if you look at, you know, things that matter in a split, frequency, optimal resting, it has both of these where you're hitting your muscles 3.5 times a week. Like, that's insane. So the only people who can run this split are going to be the beginners, who are not going to be nearly as fatigued because they're not lifting, you know, super heavy, impressive lifts that require a lot of intensity and, you know, CNS output. So beginners, this is SS tier. Is that chill? Can I do that? It's SS tier, but for everybody else, like for me, I could not run this split. It's kind of like a C tier. But there is one more thing on this list, believe it or not, on the things that matter in a split. Oh, it looks like it says not gay. So unfortunately, since this is the gayest split, where all the science-based nerds love it, and honestly, if you run this, it's torture, okay? You are not going to enjoy the gym. You'll see it as a freaking matrix, okay? That drops it down to D tier, okay? I don't make the rules. It's on the list, and this is the gayest split. And it's even gayer when they preach about all their strength gains, when they literally use, instead of isolating the muscle group, just focus on progression, and instead, you know, compress their rib cage while they're doing every lift, and just to force progression, and that's why they stay small. But that's another topic. Anyways, now it's time to go over my split. You know, who cares about what other people do? We're here for my split, okay? And the secret for my split is we go back to the full body every other day example, and the reason it's so strong is that 48 hours, okay, the most optimal time frame to give the muscle a stimulus. Now, for me, I personalized this while making my split. I wanted 48 hours, like I wanted to have that, include that into my split. So I'm like, okay, every 48 hours, I will hit all of the muscles, okay, that I need to be a sick cunt, okay? What are those muscles, right? It's gonna be your upper body, okay? So pretty much I'm gonna be hitting upper every other day. That would be the most optimal. And hitting upper every other day is still gonna be very taxing on your CNS, because your upper days are gonna have, you know, a lot more exercises and muscle groups to hit rather than your lower days. So how do you maximize this? Well, here's how upper day would work. I'll do two chest movements, so like a press and a fly. I'll do one shoulder press, or 2 sets, 2x shoulder press. Then I'll do one lat pull, or one upper back row, one sagittal row, which is when you grip the thing like this and you go whoosh, whoosh, you know, hit the lower lat. So either one side delt, and then, or I alternate it. Or I alternate for a rear delt, or I do both depending if they're both sore or not. So these are the only muscles you need to hit to be a mogger and have a sick cunt physique. Obviously the abs too, but I'll get into that later. Anything else is cope, okay? Arms are cope. I don't train my arms. And if I do, it's very rare. Like I haven't hit triceps in about 3 months. I'll do biceps I'll throw it in on my lower days just because my lower days are really short. I'll get into that. Looking here, I would say I have a pretty good, well-developed physique. Show my legs? No. But I still do have a lower day, and this is what it looks like. Where I'm only hitting the muscles that make me a sick cunt, okay? Now, what are those muscles? Your quads, and then a little bit of maintenance, and then abs, and your biceps. And I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna look really bad. Remember, this is personally for me. You don't have to do this unless you want to be a sick cunt. But you're gonna want to do 1 to 2 leg. I just like leg press because I'm a lazy cunt, and it depends on how sore I am. I'll do either 1 or 2 sets. Then I'll do 1 to 2 leg extensions because the quads are very important. They're the one part of your muscle it's like one of the biggest parts of your muscle that actually look aesthetic when you flex it. 1 bicep curl, and you see the order is very important because we order even like on the chest days. I don't rotate with my back because my back is less important than my chest and shoulders. So it's very important prioritizing, you know, which ones you want to hit first because you're gonna have the most most motor unit recruitment at the start of your lifts. So all the important muscles we'll try and prioritize as we go through. 1 ham curl, and then 1 hip adductor, the one that's on the inside, okay, not the booty one. And then I'll do 4 sets of abs, getting a lot of volume for the abs just because I don't really train them super heavy. I'll try and stick to like 8 to 10 reps just because, not because I'm toning it, but just because I like to really tone in onto my form because it's very easy to, you know, train your hip flexors or other muscles instead of your abs, which is just a waste of time and volume. But your abs are probably more important than anything else on here, not gonna lie. So you could honestly, I might honestly just like put them at the top, but like I just don't feel like starting my lifts with abs just because my leg press set is so fucking scary, bro. I've been doing usually around 10 plates for these sets with like 6 to 8 reps. Kind of brutal, but yeah, that's how the lower days are. And here's kind of how I would structure the days. So it would look something like this. I posted on my story before, but it's a story. I don't think all of you have seen it. I'll start with an upper day, then I'll follow with a lower day. Then my upper should be, with the proper volume and intensity, should be able to hit it again. Then my legs are still probably usually sore. And optimally, you know, with the 48 rule, you know, 48-hour rule, you know, having 2 days in between, you should be saying, you know, oh, why don't you just hit legs again? Which I have tried this. I have tried doing upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower. But I find once I hit this 6th day, like I'm literally cooked. You need to take a rest. And this was like with supplementation of amphetamines like DMAA and other nootropics that are not legal, but we found. Yeah, even with all those supplementation, you cannot do that for more than 6 days. So not very optimal. You're gonna have to rest a lot, and you'll be cooked for a minute. So what I found works is when you hit that second upper day, you gotta follow with a rest, and then, you know, oh, legs, no, then we do upper again because we're doing upper every other day. Then you can do legs, then you rest, then you do upper, then you do lower, then you do upper, then you do rest, then you do upper, then you do lower, such on and such forth, and it works. Now, have I faced any muscle imbalances while doing this? Yeah. Especially since I've been making a lot of progress using my glow stack peptides. Pretty decent visual difference between my lower body and my upper body. However, why am I purposely imbalancing my body this way? Well, I can just wear sweatpants, and honestly, like muscle groups such as, you know, your hamstrings or even your adductors, like those muscle groups don't really matter unless you're on a bodybuilding stage. Like no one's gonna ever see your hamstrings. Your adductors barely matter. Like your lower days are so filler. Yeah, and like the same thing goes with like hitting arms. Like I honestly will skip my bicep curl for the same reason that like nobody cares how big David Lade's arms were or Jeff Sides. or any sick cunt for the matter, the most dominant features in that physique are going to be the chest, the shoulders, and the abs, and the lats to help with the frame. Everything else is pretty much cope. So why would I waste my time? Why would I waste my energy, resources, CNS, all of that on training muscle groups that don't matter? You know, that's kind of my philosophy. Try it out if you guys want. You know, hitting upper every other day is pretty fun, believe it or not. And yeah, that's gonna be my split. I've been running it in like all the vlogs. If you want to see, like, I do use only machines for my workouts, so if you want to see my choices, they're pretty optimal. Now, I know you guys want to see a lot more education stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, with how the way the things are in the whole fitness, science-based lifting, you know, I really find a hard time identifying myself with that community, and I've just found it quite arbitrary to go any further into, like, you know, what's more optimal, a fly or a press, and then like all calcium ions and posterior, anterior. I don't like. And they're all like fucking putting themselves in seat belts and like like attaching like all these weird things to their body while they work out for like stability and whatever. It's just keep it simple, G. I feel like I've gone over pretty much all there is that you really need to know, except for like one topic I might make a video on with rib compression. I feel that is, you know, one of the few things that isn't cope. I was going on a side tangent, G. Oh, god damn it, my nose is bleeding. Ah! Ooh, okay, sorry about that. YouTube, this is fake blood, if there's any on the screen. You know, the science-based lifting really is.
Optimal means best.
Why is a fly better than a press for your chest? Outside of just saying, well, a press, you have elbow extension, there's multiple joint actions involved.
Where the fuck is 2x?
So that means that there's going to be less motor unit recruitment for your chest. Everyone says that. Everyone knows that. That is elementary knowledge. That is TikTok knowledge. Do you understand what the corollary discharge is, or an efference copy? Do you understand how that works, which is the theory, Marcora's psychobiological model of fatigue?
Like, shut the fuck up, bro. Who gives a fuck? And honestly, only people who watch this are like natties trying to cope with the fact that, you know, progress takes a long ass time. Damn, I look so silly with this fucking... Progress is gonna take a long ass time, okay? Especially training naturally. And they look at these people like Keaton or TNF or whoever, bro, even Trend Baby. Actually, Trend Baby just is a jester now. All the SVL people, and they pretty much just look over or look at them just for like any shred of wisdom to make my lifts more optimal, because I want to make gains, but it takes so long because I'm natural, you know? Or it just gets so arbitrary. They're literally two grown-ass people, two grown-ass fellas arguing what's better, a chest press or a chest fly. Who gives a fuck, okay? Just pick. You can pick either. You can pick. Well, it doesn't matter, bro. And they just have such an ego, bro. Like, do you know what this is? Like, bro, just because you researched a bit more onto a topic, like, do you think you train the most optimal out of every single person? You have the best gains possible? You're getting the best gains? No, it doesn't matter. You don't get the best gains because your genetics aren't the best. Okay, they're actually quite average. They just seem so insufferable as people. And this is like pretty good mirror into the science-based lifting community, where they just feel like anybody else who isn't doing it their way is just like inferior to them and shouldn't even like share opinions or like thoughts. Especially like people like Paul Carter and shit, they'll just straight up block you for like asking questions. Like, it's just the gym, bro. What happened to being a sick fucking cunt? This whole niche of training as optimally as possible is just like the biggest cope. You're not gonna out-train your genetics, bro. Like, even with the most optimal split, optimal nutrition, Jeff Side's still gonna mog you doing 20 sets of, you know, chest every single day just because he has better genetics than you, okay? I preach what I think is like important knowledge, you know, that isn't cope. Like, they're just basic fundamentals. I think going any further into the niche, like talking about like moment arm length, motor recruitment, like resistance profile, like, it gets to a point, bro, where you just need to shut the fuck up and just be a sick cunt, bro. Just go to the gym, have fun, stop being an insufferable bit. I just want to put this out there just to like put out why I haven't really been putting that much more effort into educational content, just because as far as lifting, training, and diet goes, I don't think there's too much nuance to go over as much as people like TNF and Keenan want you to think. Like TNF will, okay, let me do one more thing. You're like, oh, you have nothing to post, so you're gonna post a freaking alternating leg extension? Oh, that's the thing I've been missing. That's why my legs haven't been growing. It's because I haven't been doing the TNF leg extensions. There aren't any secrets to be learned. Okay, it's lifting just takes time, G. Make videos like this showing some new thing, new this, optimal this. Get your 13k likes, get your fans, just get content where I think it's just a little misleading. We're like, yeah, they can just say, oh, I'm just showing, I just wanted to show a variation if you want to switch it up. Like, what's the point, bro? It does nothing. Anyways, Dodie F out. Dodie NF, DNF out.